Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to this this edition of our webinar. Today we've got Emma Tranter. She's second in the maths department at Ribblesdale High School in Clitheroe, and she's going to be talking about some of the challenges that are facing her students as they begin to return to school, and how she's going to be planning to tackle those as they're coming back. So I shall, without further ado, hand you over to Emma. Off you go, Emma.
Good evening. And I've just got some things I'd like to share, and I've put those together just as a PowerPoint. So I'll just get that open so that you can see it with me as we talk things through. Okay, I'm hoping that is now showing for everybody. I'll assume yes, because I've not had a no. Yeah. Okay, so I'm thinking particularly about once we return to school come September, and certainly come things be a little bit more normal and we have hopefully all pupils back in school. I'm not thinking about the return of quarter of year 10 at a time happening sort of nowish. I'm thinking much further in the future. So once we return to school, I think there's two things really that we need to balance. We need to hold in balance that getting back to normal and returning to what pupils are used to seeing as lessons, and getting back into that comfort zone really. But also, of course, we need to find out what pupils have understood and, of course, what they haven't whilst we've been in this period of remote learning. And I think the balance of how that sits time-wise and what we do about it really depends on the year group. I think for year 7 and 8, we can be confident that they're going to meet topics again, and there's going to be a chance to redress any gaps, dare we say that word, in learning. And with 9 and 10, that's very different, because it might be the last time they study a particular topic in the scheme of learning. So I'm just going to go through looking at those different year groups and perhaps how I think we might address it. So the focus for year 7 and 8 really, I think, needs to be about moving on and getting back to a more normal pattern of learning. Pupils that haven't engaged, of course, as well remotely are going to have gaps in their learning, and also gaps in skills just through not having used them. I think things are going to be rusty. So for new topics, as we come to that moving on and starting a new topic, I do envisage using LBQ very much in the same way as I always have. So to start at the start of a topic, doing a little bit of an LBQ task to see how much they already know about that topic, and then of course using it as part of my teaching, and then at the end doing a review of what we've learned. When I know it's a topic that's been taught during lockdown, I think I'm going to then be very conscious of thinking, now this is one of those things that we did during this 3-month period, and that's something that I need to perhaps be a little bit more careful about how much they know already, because it may be more varied, and very much start with a topic review of where we should be up to, or I pick a mixed task that I've put together myself to ascertain their prior knowledge. With year 9, we're in the situation where our year 9s had just started GCSE in January. So the topics they've been working on have been the first few units from the GCSE, all of which, whether they're doing higher or foundation, are recapping key concepts from Key Stage 3. So I think that's put us in quite a fortunate position, as lockdown's been a good opportunity to check their Key Stage 3 prior learning. And the topics we're looking at now will be built on over the next 2 years. So because of that, I know we're going to return to all the things we've been doing during lockdown. And as we start an extension of those topics, I'll be able to use a topic review that's ready-made by LBQ, or put together my own question collection, or pick a mix, as I like to think about it, to check that prior learning. So that takes us to year 10, who I think really are the key year group, aren't they? They're the most worrying year group. Only 12 months to go to exams, and certainly by the time we're all in, hopefully at least all of year 10 in September, less than 12 months to go. certainly my year 10s have done a lot of learning. I have a higher group and I've taught all sorts of things during lockdown. I've just finished teaching a unit of work on algebraic fractions, which is something they'd never come across before, and they seem to have handled very well. Apart from, of course, those one or two who haven't engaged. But even those who have engaged well are going to need notes and examples. They're going to need something to go back and look at in terms of revision. And that's where I think I'm going to be able to use topic reviews, question collection, pick and mix myself. And I do envisage using homework as a key thing here, simply because I'm very conscious that we're not going to be able to set homework as we always have done, collecting books and mark them. I can't see that happening anytime soon. So I do envisage using homework to catch up those notes. I'm thinking that I'll prepare notes with examples that need completing. And one of the things I've done over lockdown is produce an awful lot of videos, which are now on YouTube, for teaching new content. And I'm hoping that pupils will be able to use those videos to refresh their memories and then complete the examples that I've given them as a homework task, because then coming back into class and just checking they've got the right answers will be quite a quick thing to do. It'll reassure them that they do know what they're doing with that topic. And perhaps having done 2 or 3 homeworks like that, we can box off the notes and examples for that topic, and then use a lesson where we do a topic review or a question collection that consolidates that knowledge and learning, and hopefully reassures pupils that the learning they did during lockdown is solid and secure. So that's really what I'm thinking about when we return. So you'll have noticed that there's 2 key themes there, the topic review and what I call a pick and mix. So the beauty to me of a topic review is being able to see in real time what's been understood and what hasn't. So either at the end of a topic of learning or even at the beginning to see what I need to teach, that's ideal. And if I find I have half a dozen people struggling with something, then I love being able to set a second task running in real time in the lesson and direct those pupils to something that will underpin the knowledge they're missing. But also, if I've got half a dozen that are really racing ahead, there's no point then wasting time working on that when they could be moving on. And again, I'll set another task running and as an extension and direct them to that one. And of course, the beauty of it is that the directing can be done so quietly. It can just be a quick, Freddie, would you like to just stop doing that blue task? Just exit and go on the pink one instead. It's a very quick, easy thing. It's not obvious that I'm moving someone on, and it's certainly not obvious that I'm putting someone onto something easy. So that's sort of my key thoughts, really, as far as that goes. I'm happy to answer any questions or show anything extra.
Fantastic. Thanks ever so much for that, Emma. That was really, really good. I'll just, for a second, I'll just see if there's any questions that have come in. I'm just going to have a little look at the chat and see if there's anything there. It doesn't seem that anything's come in, but I was just listening, obviously, to what you were just saying. And you obviously mentioned there the pick and mix and also the topic reviews. And I just wondered if you could possibly show us what you mean by those things.
Absolutely, yeah.
Fantastic, thank you.
Just share my screen again so that I can show you. Okay, so hopefully you're seeing my LBQ home screen. And to find a topic review, is that okay?
Yeah, that's great. We can see that. Great, thank you.
So finding a topic review, obviously I'm just going to go to maths. Let's say that we've been looking at something like ratio. So I'll pop into ratio and proportion there. And the topic reviews always appear at the top here. So they're really, really easy to find. They do also appear in the content, particularly the white rose ones, because there's some block reviews there. But the topic reviews are always really nice and easy to spot there at the top. So that's where I would pick those up from. And what I refer to as a pick and mix, which I know is supposed to be called a question collection, but I find that really boring and I just prefer pick and mix. If I've been teaching a mixture of algebra topics, perhaps, I might want to check that we can solve equations with 2 variables, maybe. So I'd just simply pick something up there, decide which questions I like, So to do that, I need to go to the advanced button there, that pink one. And to add a question to my collection, it's just as simple as choosing the bottom of the 3 options there. You can see it says add this question to your collection. So once you click on there, it starts to appear in your collection, and you can just decide which questions you like from that question set. I might also have looked at function machines, and I might want a couple of questions from there. You see I'm just popping them in, and then you can see at the top here that I've now got 4 questions in my question set, my collection. And if I click on there, it takes me to that collection of questions, and I can then move them around if I want to change the order that they're in, just pick them up and drag them, and also save that. And if I want to, share it with my department so that everybody can use it too. It's as easy as that. It's one of the quickest things to do, is making a quick pick and mix.
Fantastic. Thanks for that. That's great.
No problem.
Excellent. Sorry, I thought someone was just about to ask a question. Does anybody want to ask any questions at all? Oh, so Dave's just asked, have you found the GCSE style questions, Emma, yet?
I certainly have, and I love them. Yeah. I'm loving the Key Stage 4 content generally. The 10 and 11 content is absolutely brilliant. There's so many good things out there. I do really like the practice question sets where you can just give them lots of experience of that style of question.
That's great. Fantastic. So does anybody else have any questions? Dave says brilliant. He's really pleased. He's really pleased, as you would imagine. I'm sure he's very pleased that he used his original term of pick and mix as well.
Yes, I think it's what it should be called. It's how I think of it in my head.
If anyone were to look for the help videos, it will appear under question collection. Not quite as groovy a name, but just in case anybody's confused about that.
You've almost implied I'm groovy there.
Very groovy, definitely. So no, it doesn't look like anybody else has got any questions. So thank you ever so much for coming along, Emma. That was fantastic.
It's been an absolute pleasure.
Fantastic. And this video obviously is going to be available for everybody to watch. So that will be great.
Thank you.
Thank you very much then. So I'll say goodbye.